if y'all want to retweet it.
For sure.
Twitter open in a different tab. All right.
I could use a tab. That sounds delicious, actually, now that you mention it.
Once we start, I'll be cracking open this non-alcoholic beer that I have not had yet.
Oh, nice. Where's that from?
It's a Brew Dog from Ohio. Oh,
nice.
Ohio. Where LeBron's from.
Actually, I was just in Columbus, so I saw that brew.
Nice.
Yeah, visiting family.
Nice, yeah.
And then I drove back. I had that horrible trip I'll tell you about another time.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it back all the way from where we were, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. Took us 10 and a half hours to get home.
Ooh, that's
with kids.
2 or 3 hours extra. God.
Yeah. We hit like a lot of traffic.
Clearly.
Like in New York and Connecticut, and I guess also because all the rain and stuff, and there were like a ton of accidents, and a lot of the roads, like 84 and whatever else we want, 78. Also, like there are one lane instead of being 2 to 3 lanes. There are one lane.
Man.
So on a Friday,
yeah,
like who does that? So I think it was Laura Severus I was telling. She's like, you could have just got out and walked. Like, yeah, I could have. Would have been home faster.
So I'm just going to spam this everywhere, and then we're going to begin. I wonder if either Hugh or Dan will join us in the chat to back up their horrible opinions.
Man, I hope so. I think they can get the live react to their horrible take.
Yeah.
I'm confident that Hugh's got some good reasons.
So I watched it. So I told Jere this, but I didn't. It was before any of you, the rest of you got on. So I told them both, prepare a short 5-minute or less video. Dan did 1:46. Okay, just real tight, and it's just basically, the ending just really reminded me of the architect scene from The Matrix, and Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and I don't like those movies, so I don't like this. Basically,
Wow.
Literally, it's like because I don't like those movies, I don't like this.
An homage, baby. Swing.
It's real dumb. And then Hugh did this 9-minute long dissertation where he just goes into angles of the whole series. And basically what it just boils down to is there were too many twists. It wasn't predictable enough. Like literally he's like, we'll play the full video, but it's literally like him saying shit like, I thought it was going to be like a Doctor Who style detective show, but then Lady Loki shows up, and then it's just about Sylvie and Loki, and like, I thought it was going to be a detective show. I was expecting this, and then didn't like the fact that the timekeepers weren't real, like real hung up on that, even though it was kind of obvious from moment one that they weren't real. I mean, like,
they telegraph it from the first episode.
But it ends up being a Doctor Who episode. What do you...
Very much.
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see the video, because I do want to go through the full video. At first I was like, I might have to fucking cut this down. But then I was like, no, every part of this I want to yell at him about on air. Like
Is that in the background that you got there? Is that a Thor cartoon?
Oh, this?
Avengers cartoon? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is some Loki fan art I found on DeviantArt. Ready?
Oh, okay. The video's on your background.
Wait, what?
The video on your background was like a cartoon.
Oh, no. So the video is just like somebody's background video on...
That part, yeah.
Yeah, so, sorry. So
yeah. The animated stuff is from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I recognize that anywhere.
It's basically like ranking the 10 most dangerous Kang variants. Now that we know that Kang's a thing and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, I recommend. If you've not seen Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I recommend watching it. It is on Disney+.
I've heard
It's sort of like a semi-sequel. Like, what if we make a fantasy sequel to the first Avengers movie? You guys like that? That came out. And they made a series that basically kind of takes place in an alternate kind of, sort of alternate. Like, you can watch that movie and then watch the show and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. And it's all very huge. It's all deep Marvel cuts. Like Kang's in there. You've got like AIM is in there. You know, all the like this stuff they're never going to do in the movies, or if they do, it's going to take 20 years. It's pretty cool.
You never know. I mean, I know some YouTubers were treating Kang like it was like really pie in the sky. I guess because so many of them looked like complete dumbasses after like Mephisto never materialized in WandaVision. Although, I mean, I do want to go on the record. Last episode, I did say Kang is extremely likely. I said that, like, I did say, like, they have given us so many breadcrumbs that Kang is coming in the next episode. And I was right. I'm glad. I'm also glad. I'm also glad that they didn't do the, look, it's Tom Hiddleston in a purple fucking.
Thank God. The one of the two things I just did not want to have happen, neither one happened, and I'm just excited about that alone because it's such a MCU move to make it be like, yes, it's another Loki, or it's me in the future, it's our Loki, but in the future, or that it's Mobius. Like, that was the other thing. I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't, because, like, a character we've already seen is going to be Mobius. And I'm like, I do not want that.
I was kind of hoping for it to be Mobius just because I would want to see what Owen Wilson would do with that.
It would have been interesting, especially because He Who Remains in the comics is deeply hinted at being Mobius. You never know for sure, but it's like the nudge, nudge, wink, wink is that He Who Remains is Mobius.
Right.
Well, Batman Begins is completely wrong about the greatness of the greatest character in Marvel history.
I'll never forgive Marvel for Ralph Boner. You know, and that's the difference between me and Dan, because I cannot thank Marvel enough for Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
That was such I was like, oh, you got me, you sons of bitches. But I mean, you know how do you not know how Marvel works by this point? Like 7 movies from now, we're gonna get like, oh, turns out Ralph Boner was actually this character, was actually Quicksilver with the mind wipe or some bullshit, and then
whoops, some other universe he actually is Quicksilver, and now that version is in our universe.
Totally.
Yeah.
Somebody in the group pointed something, I forget who it was, and I feel bad for forgetting because I thought that's exactly the point. Is like someone said, like comic books are these open-ended soap operas that always have more happening and we like it. So it's the best translation is like, I hate the fact this always leads to something else. Like, well, do you know what comic books are?
Yeah. Well, it's true, but it's also, those are comic books and not movies. So it's
but I think it works in cinema. Just you have to be right. Yeah, it works in cinema. You just also have to make it work.
That's the whole Marvel pitch. That's why Marvel is so successful, because they're like, we're doing the comics live action. We're doing live action.
And we're going to spend a ton of money to make it look good. Over and over and over. We're going to get the best actors. We're going to do everything necessary to make it worthwhile. It's not exhausting. Crap. So
it's like exhausting, and I hate being on these Saturday night shows.
I literally give you an out though.
Every single time I say no, you say, "Well, can you do these other two?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fine, I'll fucking do it."
I just want to know. I mean, you're more than welcome to say no to these. I mean, it's absolutely cool. I don't want to like torture you,
I feel like it's penance for having you watch 9 Fast and Furious movies, but once those are done,
it's true. It's true. I do feel less bad because
Fear Street is so far the thing I've liked that I've most of the watch that we watched for that I haven't. That isn't the Fast and Furious movies.
I have yet to actually see any of the Fear Streets. Actually,
I think you said in a previous episode that you don't like slashers, so at least I haven't seen the second or third, but I think the first one will not be your cup of tea. But maybe it will be. Did
you like the first one, Jere?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It's not like life changing or anything, but I thought it was like a good like. If I were a teen, I would probably like really like that, and I'd be like amped for the next one. Yeah,
there's a lot of buzz in the horror community about being like a tribute, but also like doing different things. And I agree. I haven't finished it. I literally am like 10. I've got 10 minutes left in that first one. Like, great place to stop.
Yeah,
I like it though. It's a lot of homage, and there's definitely a lot of things for horror fans. But if you don't like slashers or like 80s horror, I'm not sure if you're going to be into it.
Yeah, it's like a slasher movie, but has a lot of Stranger Things in its DNA and like its approach to like being an homage.
Doesn't it have at least 2 actors from Stranger Things?
I'm not sure. I think one might have been, but in a small part for this one. I know a bigger role for like one of the leads in the next one is. I'll watch that later.
That Scream tribute's amazing though. So no matter what anyone says, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think I'm ready to go. We got 7 viewers. That's pretty good. We got Dan Harrold in the chat, who we will see on camera in a bit, shitting all over this thing that we all liked more or less. But in the meantime, let's start this bullshit. Here we go.
We're closing in 10. You're wasting my time. This ain't your bed. You give them a wink, or is it a blink? You only got one eye, so they gotta think. You hang around town with the film sims. You're selling your organs with the film sims. You catch a raccoon with the film sims. You'll name that raccoon Film Sims.
The Film Sims was shot before a live digital audience.
Hello, everybody! Welcome to the Hiddlesimps, the finale of the Hiddlesimps, covering the episode, episode 6 of season 1 of Loki, for all time, always. With me, as always, are my 2 co-hosts, Mikey Gesus. Let's just say hello to Mikey Gesus right now.
Hello, everybody.
Michael Jesus.
Michael
Jesus. And of course, Rasheed, aka Cool Hand Raw.
Hey.
Raw who remains. and then the person who apparently is being here against his will, Jere Pilapil, aka Swing Dingling. Say hello, Jere.
Hello, I'm exhausted by the Marvel shit. Hello to Hugh Guiney specifically. I'll try to defend your honor unless I disagree with your points against the show, in which case I'll stab you in the back like I learned from Loki.
Yes. Hugh is just a Jere variant, actually.
A Geriant.
A Geriant. I like that. And then special guest for this episode. He's done episodes of our previous Marvel bullshit shows before. First time on the Loki show. Give it up for Randy Williams. Randy,
hey guys.
Hi. Please promote your shit.
Yeah. I'm a stand-up comic up here in New Hampshire. I do all kinds of comedy all over New England, and I've got an 11-year-old son sitting over here next to me playing PS5. He's what are you playing right now? Spider-Man. He loves the Spider-Man. Who doesn't love the Spider-Man?
Just Spider-Man or Morales?
No, he already finished Morales. He's doing the OG right now.
Oh wow! So doing it in reverse.
Yeah.
Wow, the PlayStation 2 one? Wow, holy cow!
Yeah.
He loves retro, but no, it's all the PS5 stuff.
Nice. Okay. I just played that for the first time actually earlier this year because I just got a PS5. Yeah. All right. Okay. Sweet. So thank you for being here. So we're gonna get into our recap of this episode, and then we'll recap the episode. Then we're gonna review it, and we're gonna kind of review both the episode and just the series as a whole. And then once we've all done our reviews, we got Bat Nerd Begins and Hugh Guiney in the chat right now, and we do have videos from each of them. I think we're gonna go watch Dan's first because Dan basically just compares it to 2 movies he didn't like, and then is like, I don't like those movies. I don't like this either. It's really simple. And then Hugh just wrote a fucking manifesto, like Hugh's rant. I could imagine just scribbled on a wall, like of a jail cell somewhere. So we're gonna get into that. But please, Rasheed, I'm gonna put you on the spot one last time until we do the Hiddlesimps season 2. King willing.
I was like, Jim's right there. All right, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, here we go. Please, one last time this season of my streaming show, please recap Loki.
All right, sure. First of all, let me just adjust my Kang purple cloth. I don't know if I should use this one or this. This way, I use both. There you go. Also, I
was wondering if that was intentional. I love that.
Yeah. I don't have an apple, but I have applesauce, so I might have to just be sucking on this during my recap.
Pureed knowledge.
You look like you're out cold and you're like trying to just keep warm.
Me and the cats need to stay warm for the winter. Okay. All right, so we open on the Citadel at the end of time. By the way, is that what we're officially calling it, the Citadel at the end of time?
Yeah,
that's the
sure.
Yeah, because Miss Minutes refers to it as a Citadel when they get in there, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then the intro, we get that cool intro with like a ton of like audio nods to like literally the entire MCU. Even WandaVision is included in there.
And some real life stuff too, which is cool.
Some real life stuff.
Yeah,
it's some like super civil rights stuff that I thought was a little weird,
a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
So we talk about that now because I wasn't supposed to say that till later because that a lot of that kind of went over my head, but like in ways I don't understand. Like as many of you know, Mike is the comic guy. So I was setting up like this is Loki's true Ragnarok or whatever. So I thought like some of the things like you're kind of going over his past. Like I think it's kind of interesting to get the nod to this time with the Avengers. You hear like your Iron Man, you hear Steve Rogers. The song that played, I guess, is the song that Steve Rogers and Peggy are dancing to. You hear Maya Angelou for some reason.
Yeah. I'm so glad they didn't do Whitey on the Moon. I was like, if you want to do Whitey on the Moon, you sons of bitches, don't you dare.
Very nice. Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, I'm so sure why they did like Maya Angelou. Like now I want a Loki adventure where it's just like different Harlem Renaissance and black poets. We wear the mask, and then W.E.B. Du Bois comes out like reading his treaty. Anyways, so you hear all that stuff. We're kind of setting up like what some past is or whatever. And the song escapes me, but the song I know that the title of the song is basically like you're kind of like living through something over and over again, or a moment over and over again. Let's see. I think I got everything. Probably that. Yes, it is. Okay, so we come back to Loki and Sylvie, which is interesting because now I see Sylvie is getting referenced as Laufey's daughter or Loki's daughter, which I have issues with, which we can get to later. So they come from the void, which is like the void monster, Goliath. Let's see. They did this cool little thing where they kind of like take a moment to like sort of prepare themselves for going in. They have some kind of playful banter back and forth because they're just about to figure out like, all right, we're about to meet the guy. This is kind of where I figure he mentioned this, the architect. But really, I thought this was like a Wizard of Oz. I understand, the Matrix is newer, but it's more of a Wizard of Oz thing. As they're about to leave, you see Miss Minutes pop up. Now, I really interested in how they shot this because, like, there's whole color coding really unique in the series, and like it's super dark. They had to get this gorgeous glow, which is kind of the glow that's all throughout the TVA. But also, they did it in an interesting way to me, where like it looks like it was a natural light. Because I feel like other shows you kind of see like, oh, they just like painted that in. But it's actually pretty. Oh, am I breaking up? I'm sorry.
No, I see it too. Yeah. Hi, Miss Knox. Yeah,
hello, Miss Knox.
Hey, Miss Knox, what's up?
Yeah, well, let me cut down. Let me if I hang up the. To you guys, all right? Hope that works a little.
Yeah, maybe if you have anything else running in the background on your computer, maybe that'll help it.
No, I got nothing else going.
Watching Black Widow in the background.
Yeah. Just downloading a terabyte of porn.
Basically, yeah. Well, actually, hold on. Because I'm doing this, and then I think they might be watching Space Jam downstairs.
You want me to continue the fucking...
You want to pick up the ball and dribble to quote the movie we're gonna review on Wednesday.
Yeah. So they see Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes fucking offers them, a way out and kind of a devil's deal. Like, hey, if you want to take over this stuff, you can. You don't have to see the man behind the curtain. And then they like say like, no, fuck that. We gotta see this man. So they go see the man. Then Miss Minutes comes back and she sees Renslayer, and she's like packing shit up. And Mobius kind of has a little bit of a back and forth with her. Why would you need more Loki fanfic after our background? The perfect one. So they go in and they see He Who Remains, who is Jonathan Majors. Doing a light Richard Pryor impression. And he's very playful, and he kind of lets them know that he made the TVA. He's a guy who was a scientist in the future who discovered the multiverse event, essentially, and then all of his different selves from all over different universes all met each other and eventually started going to war with each other, and that's the multiversal war. So he harnessed Alioth to clamp down the war and end it, and started the TVA to prevent that from ever happening. And his bargain is the same as the one Miss Minutes gave them, to just either take over the TVA for Sylvie and Loki, to let them take over it, or kill him like they want to, like their goal was, and let fucking the shit let the bodies hit the floor, as it were. So eventually Sylvie and Loki wind up having a decent sword fight. Sylvie kind of kisses Loki to distract him, then kicks him away and stabs He Who Remains, and we get to see all the things branching out. She kicked Loki through into a portal into the TVA, and once he winds up there, he starts freaking out and trying to warn everybody about what's going on. No one recognizes him.
He went to, I think, an alternate TVA that is now ruled by presumably Kang the Conqueror.
Yes, the last thing we see is the statue of the, what are they called? The Timekeepers?
Abraham Lincoln with the monkey.
No Timekeepers now, it's just Kang.
Yeah, it's been replaced by Kang the Conqueror and as a statue.
Yeah, but and can we just talk about, I just want to take a moment, and even if you didn't like this episode, which I think is a little ridiculous, can we just talk about how great Jonathan Majors was? I mean, he was clearly having a blast with the material, having a lot of fun just with the role, and especially just knowing that this character is just kind of a one-off version of this character, and then presumably the next, and presumably every performance he does here on out is going to be a new character. Just gets me so excited for Jonathan Majors as Kang in the MCU. And I know that the big criticism from both of our Judases in the chat is going to be that the finale was mostly just an exposition dump. But God, what an exposition dump it was.
It was a performance is what it was. I mean, this is a moment of acting, and I even love the subtlety of where he starts off being very confident, and by the end, you feel like he's kind of afraid. And the subtle change in performance is something you can only pull off if you're an amazing actor. So I love that.
Yeah, me too.
And I just want to point out that some of the camera work in this episode was some of the best of the series. The way that the camera would just kind of slowly pan in on Jonathan Majors until he filled up the screen, but then it would start to pull back. And just kind of how it went, just kind of metaphorically kind of fit with everything he was talking about and the story he was telling us, I thought was just very wonderfully done. I even thought the action scene, the fight scene between Loki and Sylvie at the end was the best action scene. I mean, it's not an amazing action scene, and I don't think it kind of rivals the best of even Black Widow, but it was definitely heads and shoulders above the fight scenes in episode 3, which just did not belong there. And also, hi Jasmine. Hi.
Hello,
Jasmine.
Time to celebrate. Did you guys ever see the Skyfall? The James Bond.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
Sure.
It's one of my favorites.
So remember what's his face comes in. I thought the same thing. What Justin was described. He kind of comes in, and the camera kind of pans in. Then he meets Bond, and then he kind of comes back. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, what I really liked about the language that they used in filming this scene, I felt like, they get the James Bond notes. You already mentioned Matrix and Wizard of Oz. I also got a lot of Star Wars. And part of my recap was to say how I thought that this movie, and I said this entire series, this episode was give this woman the next Star Wars trilogy, because she did everything. They should have done Rey and Kylo Ren and Ben Solo. This episode would have made Rise of the Skywalker way better if they would have done it this way. But
I would disagree, just because I thought the direction in this particular episode was very good, and I wonder if that's because it was 90% in one room. where they could just have the room, because the rest of the series, the directions are very pedestrian. Like it's a lot of static camera going shot, reverse shot, and it's not very dynamic. Some dolly shots, maybe some like walk and talk things, but it's not really super involved. Whereas this I agree with Justin, very good for this episode.
It's like the most even episode by far. I mean, in terms of direction, like it's the series is a little uneven, but like this is like it's very cinematic and very intentional, and this all the symbols that are there that are subtle that aren't meant to be read into other than basics like symbols. And this is like language of filmmaking episode by far.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
As the Apostles' wisdom would recommend, that this was, so less is more. And I think you guys are right. This is show that how less is more, and you can do a lot more with less.
I do want to acknowledge Simply Bex's comment that it did feel narrative heavy by telling more than showing, but I understand why they didn't. If they showed us that the audience would know for sure he was telling the truth. And I also think that we know we are getting Kang in season 2 of Loki and also Quantumania. I think in those we're going to get more of his actual backstory, more of like flashback type stuff. And here was just kind of, here's his introduction, allow me to reintroduce myself, essentially. But what were you going to say, Jere?
I was going to say, we don't know that he's coming back for Loki season 2. We don't know shit about Loki season 2.
True. Presumably, I guess.
Yeah, that could come 5 years from now for all we know, and everything will be wrapped up, and it'll just be about, I don't know, maybe Loki finding Sylvie or whatever. So yeah, that's the only thing. But I agree with you. I think it's better to just kind of wet our whistles with the idea of a man who transcends universes or time or whatever. And then and I think Bex is also correct that like it's better to tell it in this instance because the idea is the tension between Loki and Sylvie. Whether they can tell who he's or if he's being honest.
Well, to point that out, the whole deal with him. Is he lying? Is he not? I never felt like he was lying, and maybe that's just because we know he's Kang the Conqueror in an upcoming movie. We knew too much for this to not be true, and I guess they could have taken it in some other weird direction. But when they give you the A/B story, it's either he's lying or he's telling the truth. It was ideal, and I felt weird about Sylvie going crazy on him. Towards the end there, I get why she does it. It makes sense, but I never believed
her life was ruined by this man.
From their perspective, he's just a guy they just met.
It's a philosophical question. That's such a cool thing about this episode is that it raises is it better to have order under this horrible regime, or is it better to have free will but you destroy yourself for it? I mean, keep in mind in the 31st century, so hey, we got a good we got 1,000 years, don't worry about it for us, but the universe itself going to self-destruction, that's the universal question of free will, and that to me is really what seals the deal as it being fantastic. It's a conversation as a fight sequence. It's a moral debate.
And she exercised her free will, and
whoops. By the way, I'm on her side, so I feel that.
Also,
they had to continue the story, right? Otherwise, it happens immediately, and it's just the two of them running the TVA.
I also don't know if he was being 100% honest, because very subtly he is trying to push them apart, right? In the dialogue, he literally says it's at one point where Loki says, "Oh, so this is all a big game." He goes, "Interesting that your mind would go there, Loki. Sylvie, are you sure you can trust this man?" So he is trying to, their union, as Mobius said earlier in the series, that their union has the power to take down the TVA. So it's very interesting that his whole goal is to wedge them apart. And I think we have more to learn about what his actual intentions were in that moment. Also, I want to just call attention to Bat Nerd Begins' comment. Unsatisfying. Watch another movie to see more. You just don't like the MCU, man.
Have you ever read a comic book or seen any of the Marvel films or
Here's the thing. With the MCU, you are buying into a puzzle. This is a huge puzzle, and they give it to you piece by piece. And if you don't like that, that's fine. You have literally every other movie series outside of what DC is limp-dickedly trying to do. Right? You have so many standalone fucking movies you can watch, or standalone TV shows. You don't have to buy in to Marvel. Okay,
there's increasingly less stuff that's like standalone in like mainstream entertainments, though. It's kind of fucking. I don't know, but like I think these things used to stand alone a little bit more compared to now, where and I also think that sometimes to an extent my my perception's warped because I sit here and like talk to everybody, and like I feel like I have to be involved to fucking relate to my friends. So I'm so frustrated at all times that this is taking up so much of my time and mental space. Like,
I'm sorry, man. You don't have to do Hiddlesimps season 2 if you don't want to, man. I'm so sorry.
Kick you out of the stream.
Okay, and so then Bex did point out that Loki was originally supposed to be 12 episodes, and that is why we're getting season 2. I think a big reason, because of the pandemic. And then Batnerd Begins says each part should be satisfying on its own. I was satisfied, bitch. Bitch, I was satisfied. I'm sorry.
Yeah. As long as Justin was satisfied.
I got my nut.
But I think this shows us that like I think for the past honestly maybe 4 or 5 years I think Marvel like kind of doubled down on this concept and actually made things a lot more consistent. Because to be honest with you, like I think the Thor: The Dark World is underrated, but I feel like really combined some of it with Ragnarok, and I think honestly maybe part of my disappointment is I feel like what we saw in this last episode is actually what Ragnarok is in both in like the Norse mythology and in the comic books. And I kind of feel like they could have thought through this a little bit more. And I think people might be a little satisfied because I think you kind of understand like Thor Ragnarok didn't really have anything to do with like actual Ragnarok. This one does, where like Loki actually is here presented with choice. And what I think is kind of cool, like we said so far, is that like Loki actually finds a way to choose both choices. Because he's different variants, but still, like Loki's kind of having their cake and eating it too.
True.
I think that's really cool, and I think that maybe part of some of the dissatisfaction is that the other movies didn't really kind of, or maybe they didn't know this is the way they wanted to go 5, 6, 10 years ago. But I think if they did, I think maybe people might feel a lot more, I don't know, connected, a lot more. They might jive with this and the past MCU stuff a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, okay, so Batnerd says that Loki wasn't great. It'll be in the great MCU. It will be forgettable in the big picture. Disagree. And then Hugh points out that Luke Cage is already getting recast, so the continuity is going out the window. Which I mean, we've known for years that the Netflix shows were Ike Perlmutter Productions. Kevin Feige
they were never going to be.
When he seized control, when he wrestled, the MCU away from Ike Perlmutter's sexist, racist hands, and just like, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do Black Panther and Captain Marvel now. He basically went and retconned everything. That's why anything after I think like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't reference anything post the original Avengers movies, and that's why the Netflix MCU shows. So this has all been retconned, and I think they have plans to bring shit to the MCU. I even saw I've been watching. I know people hate him, but I do find his videos fascinating. Movie Bob. I did watch Movie Bob. Movie Bob's theory is that they're gonna use the multiverse to make the Sony Spider Villainverse canon, but instead of Tom Holland being that Spider-Man, he thinks that they might even make it either Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
because literally went through like the trailers for both Morbius, right? That's Morbius.
Morbius, the living vampire.
Morbius and Morbius.
Yeah, that's a lot of
my god.
Biuses.
Yeah. And so and both that and the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer, you see the Daily Bugle, but it's not. It's a newspaper in this universe. It's not the fucking Alex Jones-esque podcast that it is in the Tom Holland MCU. So it's just it is interesting, and I agree to Miss Knox to a certain extent. I totally get if you don't like something that a thing you like is doing. I mean, feel free to call it out. If these guys didn't like this, I absolutely want to give a dissenting voice on this program. So what I want to do right now is I want to go around. Everybody just give just a quick review of the season, what you thought of it, give it a number rating, and then we're gonna watch both Dan and Hugh's videos, and we're gonna live react to them, and I'm gonna call them both stupid. But let's start with Randy. Randy. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's got 3 more viewers.
Don't apologize for kissing your daughter. Yeah, very sweet.
This isn't a channel for children. Rasheed, you're off the show. Okay, Randy, please give us your review of Loki. Give it a score out of 10. And then if you want to contextualize it with the other Marvel shows, feel free to do that.
No, I absolutely loved it. It's a solid 9. It is not perfect. None of these shows are going to be perfect when they have been cut back by COVID and cut back by by infighting in the MCU as to we have to cut it this way, we have to cut it. They're never going to be perfect, but it's really good. I watched every ep with my family, and they were super into it to the point that they're going back and watching all the MCU movies to catch up. So you can tell it means something to somebody somewhere that this be good from and this is the kickoff. This is the thing that really is kicking off the next phase of the movies. WandaVision stops short of that, and all they do essentially is create a new Captain America. One they could have just said, have the Shield. We didn't have to have Winter Soldier and Falcon. We didn't need that show. As good as it was, and I give that incidentally a 7.5. It's a good but not great. WandaVision and Loki are both solid 9s, not entirely perfect, but damn good shows. And and they give me reason to watch everything that Disney's putting out in the MCU. It's excellent stuff. And that's my big fight with the anti-fans here is they're making quality product. They really aren't screwing up to any significant extent. They're putting huge money behind it. It's real. You see it on the screen. It's not the settings and SFX and CGI in this movie or the show. I'd say movie. It seems like a movie. It's a long movie. It's a fantastic show in that regard. They got everything pretty and right. The settings, all the big beautiful purple columns with the gold cracks through them, which is super cool. Beautiful aesthetic and matches what the assembly of his own crazy world that he's had to live in and sort of control for eons, whatever eons is to him. It's awesome. It looks great. The characterizations are great. Everybody's fun and fun to listen to. The dialogue is cutesy without being over the top, silly. It's a great show. I don't know why people would dislike it. So that's my feeling on that.
Fuck yeah. Okay, we're gonna go to Raw next. Raw, please. Grade the season and also contextualize it with your grades for WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay, so I do think that on one hand, I think it should get incomplete because I think as Bex pointed out, which I do not know, there was supposed to be 12 or there's supposed to be 12 episodes. But also I feel like what this series has done is really opened up the MCU in a really terrific way. So I kind of feel like, we should kind of wait maybe a couple movies to see, or at least, through much of the Phase 4 movies and shows to see if they're followed through on it. But just right now, like in this time capsule, this variant of the reality, I think that it should get like a 9. I do agree with Randy on that. Now, I think you got a good point. Like, I do feel that Falcon and the Winter Soldier were important in some ways, but I also kind of felt like they were just sort of retelling stories from the comic books, which is satisfying for me because I felt like all the money I spent on the comic books actually now it felt like it was worth something, and also felt like we were at a moment where we sort of need to experience like what it's like to see America from a different side and still choose to represent that. Yeah. And so I thought it was important. And I think I would still give that like a 7.5 or 8. WandaVision was a little bit up and down for me. It took me a little bit to get into, and then when I got into it, I liked it. But then I was like, there's a lot of things here. But also I felt like maybe WandaVision, I think because of the pandemic, probably came a little bit out of order. Like I felt like maybe WandaVision should probably have come now after Loki, or maybe after some other machinations. I haven't seen the Black Widow, but someone told me that like there's also parts of the Black Widow that make you think that like maybe that Black Widow should have come before WandaVision. So WandaVision I still could kind of give like a 7. But Randy mentioned the acting. One thing I watched this first time with like I couldn't really watch it with sound. It sounded very low, so I had the closed captions on, and I did it again. It's just interesting to see like the closed caption description of what they're saying from the script, but then to see how like Jonathan Majors is actually doing something like slightly different. Like one part's like it says he who remains sighs deeply or exhales deeply, but he's just kind of like a whew, like it's like he's like acting like in a way that's even confusing the script readers, the closed caption.
You can't nail him down. He's a trickster.
I was like, I was like, wow. And then I had the same description later on. He does it, so I was like, it was almost as if like he was like he was acting one way for his coworkers, his co-actors, and also for like acting a different way for the transcribers. So I thought that was fantastic. I think this particular episode, I think, really brought it home. The last two are really good, but even the stunt cast has been fantastic. So I really see, it's 9. But because it's incomplete, I can't give it a 10. And there are some things I think earlier on I was kind of like, this needs to move on a little bit. So I'm so curious though, like what's going to happen with Judge Renslayer. And I think we're not getting Ant-Man to 2023, which seems to be kind of long, given that this seems to really like I don't get why like the Ant-Man movies in general seem to be kind of out of cycle with the rest of the stuff, but I'm sure we'll get to that when we get there. So that's what I give it.
Sure.
I give it a 9.
Okay, so just to review, so your scores are 9 for Loki, 7 for WandaVision, 7.5 for Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, let's give it an 8 just to make it even numbers. So yes, I'll give it a 9 for Loki, 8 for Winter Soldier because I love the Falcon. I'm a Falcon.
Yes.
And 7 for WandaVision.
Excellent. Okay, so just real quick, so we're going to do Mikey next, but I do want to just respond to Batnerd Begins' comment, which is, I don't think Marvel has figured out TV yet. Wrong. All the shows, I think, will be somewhat inconsequential in the big picture. Absolutely wrong. This show just literally ended with, like, the fucking, like, this is the next 12 movies. Here you go. We will see mostly feel like fat to me. Again, wrong. The first half of WandaVision was super creative and fresh. I think that's the best MCU TV so far, I think. Second half kind of lost the magic. Well, that's your opinion. And then, yes, and we got Miss Knox in the chat disagreeing with Bat Nerd. We got their Comic 1717. They need their Dave Filoni. They have that. It's Kevin Feige.
Yeah, you know that, Josh. Come on.
Yeah, and then we got Hugh Guiney saying completely agree, fellow Judas, which nice, good to see some team synergy right there, some team. At least want Dan. Dan must be thrilled to have a friend. Because I have seen, like, in the past, I've seen, like, 12-day-long Kanye, like, super threads where he's just defending Kanye with, like, a bunch of, like, fucking Starbucks latte liberals. It's like, but he's bad now! And he's just, like, one man just, like, no, but the music's dope, guys! And, like, fucking... And, yes, and then Hugh pointed out that both him and Dan like Tenet, which is... Well, I don't even get into that. I don't want to
see. There's 2 of them and there's 5 of us. So let's get into a brawl, guys.
I do want to defend Dan on one point. Like, I think that it's dumb for them to recast Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and all those because I thought those shows were very well made and they did put Marvel on the map. And I'm sorry, but like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage had a very forward, progressive thinking. Interracial relationship and a hot interracial relationship, sex scene that like. I know turned off a lot of the fanboys on Twitter who can't get the fact that like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are like, but still, I thought that like them recasting those Netflix shows is really dropping the ball when they really should move forward and not do what DC does, which is like forget that they have like just cut off the arm willy nilly. So.
Well, the problem is they legally can't, like, reference anything that happened in those shows. So they're going to bring back a lot of the actors and characters, but they can't actually reference anything that happened in those shows. So it's easy with like a lawyer.
Okay.
Like, so they're going to bring Cox back. I can guarantee. Like, there's a lot of rumors about it already, with She-Hulk and everything, right? Like, he'll be there in the next Spider-Man as a lawyer, because you don't have to talk about the past adventures. Yeah. So my name is Matthew Murdock. I just happen to be here. But it's harder when you're talking about like a character like Luke Cage or Jessica Jones.
Honestly, though, as somebody who watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil and thought that like a couple of the fight scenes are some of the best action sequences I have ever seen on television, but overall, man, especially season 2, the second half of the
season 2 is a travesty in the second half, but season 3 is one of the best seasons of a superhero TV of all time. It is my favorite Marvel thing of all time by far.
But I hate
related property.
I hate that the dude who plays his name Froggy, right? I hate that dude. I really don't love the girl who's. I think by the time I watched her in Punisher, I had kind of just like. Okay, she's just part of the fabric of this shit. I gotta accept her. Kind of like how I felt about Chris Rock in season 4 of Fargo. Like halfway through, I was like, he's just this character now. I just gotta accept him as this.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But I would absolutely love, because I did think Charlie Cox did a great job as Matthew Murdock, and I would just absolutely love him being reintroduced without any of that baggage, and and he gets a fresh start in the MCU. And I do think that they're going to use the multiverse as like this catch-all to do a lot of shit, and to that was multiverse. That wasn't this. The MCU is this. That was multiverse, though. You can enjoy it. But okay. So, Mikey, your turn. Review the series, contextualize it in, just review the first 3 official MCU series.
Sure. So, for me, I agree with everybody so far. 9 out of 10 for me, easily. I'm only really subtracting that point for how uneven some of the directing is in the first few episodes. Mm-hmm. Not the first episode, but I'd say episodes 2 and 3 have some flaws directorially, and all the action sequences, including everything until the last episode. I feel like the fight sequence choreography was a little lacking. And the thing is, I look past that because I'm all about thematic, like the resonance, like what the point of the show is. And to me, why I would say, because I would give WandaVision a 7.5 and Falcon Winter Soldier an 8, only because I love those characters so much in Falcon Winter Soldier. Otherwise, it'd probably be about even keel. But I feel like they don't really follow through on their themes, and they're not consistent enough. Everything that is promised in this series, they actually pull the trigger on. The fact it's epic, it's important, it has long-lasting effects. It doesn't devolve into just, at the end it's a laser fight and that's all there is to it. And also it doesn't really matter. Like Falcon Winter Soldier, it's a story that didn't have to be told. I hate to say it. Like I love it because I love those characters. But did you need to tell it? Not necessarily. It's great to see it, but it wasn't necessary. It's just the fact I'm a fan of those characters. So especially, I'm a huge Falcon fan, as we've talked about many times. And I think he's perfectly cast and I love his character. But here you have every theme and concept that they write the check for, they cash it. Again, like my thing with Black Widow is like, you're writing checks that you can't cash, and that sucks. Here, I think everything that is promised, unlike all the other shows, honestly, the other two, it really does keep its theme throughout, the concept of free will and choice and change. And it even goes to places where they flat out said, we're not going to do a thing. No, they're not going to kiss. It's not going to be romantic. It's not going to be that. And they went to those places that everyone kind of speculated how crazy that would be if Marvel did something like that. If they went to a place where you talk about a character being, either bisexual or sapiosexual or fluid. They did that. They went to a place where, loving yourself is a theme, but also taking it very literally. Free will, they went to that place. So I think there's a lot of commitment to the idea and the theme. And I honestly think WandaVision lacked that. I think like at the last second, it kind of failed and turned into a zip-zap fight. And I would have loved it if they kept it weird. And Falcon Winter Soldier, they saved all, there's a lot of racial, very important racial conversation to be had in that series. But I also think again, they kind of, the pandemic affected all these shows. And one of those is it feels cut up because of some of the plot elements they couldn't use properly. I don't think there's anything here that was like, that's a pandemic other than the shorter season. I don't think that there's anything that feels like it's really sacrificed. And I think it has two of the best moments. I mean, my gauge for something is, does it make me emotional? Does it make me cry at any point? I got two big cry moments out of this series, so congratulations, you win.
What were they?
The Lamentus 4 moment, where, you know, like right before, it was the beginning of the I believe it was episode 4, where they're literally facing their own doom. And there's this moment where Tom Hiddleston is acting his ass off, and it's like, it's one of his best performances ever. And I'm a fan of him as an actor. Only Lovers Left Alive is one of my favorite films, and I think he did a better job there. This moment of sharing, like, this concept of coming to terms with himself through another person, and then of course, you know, like the betrayal moment, the fight sequence, the fact that they're even fighting in the final episode. I love that. I love this. It felt very, like, to me, it felt very tense, and the fighting was a representation of their value differences. I love that, and like how he literally throws his sword down and is like, "I'm not fighting you." You know, I love that. It's a great moment. Got the superhero cry out of me from a villain. So the superhero cry is my metric of if I like something as a superhero property. By the way, if you get the superhero cry out of me, then you win. Yeah. So 9 out of 10.
I love Ra's comment here. And the second time Mikey cried was when King sat on his own balls.
Yep.
But yeah, that's great. I do want to point out, because we're gonna play Dan's thing in a minute. I do want to just point out that I named it.
He's so grumpy.
I named it because he sent it to me in an email and I uploaded it, and I named it Dan hates Loki but loves Wonder Woman 1984. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I just letting everybody know. But okay, so before we get, of course, to our two guest reviews, I do want to give Jere. I know how much you hate talking about this shit, but I'm forcing you. You. Contextualize. Rate the series.
I am here on my own volition, legally speaking. So WandaVision was so uneven for me. I think it was just so fresh and weird at the start, and then progressively became a regular Marvel thing. So I liked it. I'll give it a 7-ish, about there. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought, was very good in terms of moving its characters around and getting them into new things. And some of the action was good, but some of the action was fucking terrible. I'm at about a 5 for that one. And Loki, overall, I think it's uneven because I don't think it knows how to focus on things very well. Like, it will set up something where it seems like it's going to be a story about Loki and Mobius and their relationship. And then it kind of switches over to Sylvie and Loki for a little bit. And then it kind of becomes a weird free-for-all with Loki and the other Lokis until it goes back to Loki. So it feels like it's more interested in just, like, whatever room Loki's in, that's what the show is about right now. And then anytime someone leaves that orbit, they're kind of just thrown. Like, I couldn't tell you what the beginning, middle, and end for any of the B plots would be. It's just like every episode kind of felt like a bunch of information being thrown at me, and then like a revelation would hit, and then that would be where the end of the episode, and then we'd be back on the new thing, and it would just be another cavalcade of information being sent to me. I thought the last episode was very good, though, mostly because Jonathan Majors was incredible. He did a great job. It was an exposition dump, but he did a great job with it. I just don't think the show is particularly cohesive. I'm at a 7.5 for the whole show, but probably around an 8.5 or a 9 for the last episode.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so how would you rank the 3 series?
I would put Loki a hair above WandaVision, and then those above Falcon and Winter Soldier by a lot.
Interesting. Okay. So
actually, I just want to say, like, a lot of things like people have been saying are like rumor based, and the thing about Loki being like supposed to be a 12-episode season is just Tom Hiddleston at one point saying that there are going to be 12 episodes, but he just said there was going to be 12 episodes. That doesn't mean that they were all supposed to release at once. So I think we got what they intended for the most part.
I believe that.
I think season 2 will also be 6 episodes, and then we'll get the full 12 episode, and maybe he can fucking check out and do another Only Lovers Left Alive or whatever.
Yes, please.
I love that movie as well.
Yeah, masterpiece.
Yeah, so I want to go to my ranking, and I do think that because this isn't a complete story, this is clearly the first. I don't know if it's the first half of a story. I don't know if it's the first third of a story. I don't know how long they plan on taking the whole Loki thing. I think that certain plot lines are going to feel incomplete, until we know that we've watched the series finale of Loki. That's the point where we can say, well, how did this plotline? Was this plotline done very well, et cetera, et cetera? So I do think that, unlike WandaVision and Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which is what they called it in the final episode, I think that it's harder to rank this because you're only seeing a piece of a story and not the whole thing. Regardless, though, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I get what people say. I do think that, was the final episode an exposition dump? Yes. Was I enthralled during that exposition dump? Yes. I had a lot of fun with it. Jonathan Majors was somebody who I thought was cool when I saw him in Lovecraft Country last year, but I wasn't blown away by him until I saw a movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco. It's an indie movie that came out a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Fantastic. He should have, it's a crime that he was not at least nominated for an Oscar for his performance in that movie. Everybody here that hasn't seen, I think it's on Amazon Prime. I think you might be able to watch it for free on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend.
Movie, yeah.
Yes. Highly recommend watching The Last Black Man in San Francisco. If you don't already love Jonathan Majors, I guarantee you it'll make you love Jonathan Majors. And if you don't love Jonathan Majors after watching that movie, you suck. So you fucking blow. I can't say anything else. His performance of that he does this one-man play, and it's just it's phenomenal. And also, I didn't cry at any point in Loki, but I did get teary-eyed during that part of the movie, of that movie. So highly recommend that. That gets a 10 out of 10 for me, honestly. Everybody watch that. As far as Loki goes, I prefer an ending when everything is fucked and nothing is resolved. That's why Empire Strikes Back forever is my favorite Star Wars movie. That's why Infinity War is my favorite Avengers movie. Just because I like it when just everything's fucked and nothing is resolved and everything's bad, because that's what life is. Every season, every ending of a story in my life has always been, everything's fucked and nothing's good now, and so I like when art imitates that. Whereas the endings of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier were definitely more, and I think Jere said this right a couple times, that the goal of these shows is to kind of reinforce the status quo ultimately, basically, so you can go from Captain America, at the end of Endgame, giving the shield to Falcon, and then in the next Captain America movie, he's just going to be Captain America, and you don't necessarily need to see Falcon and Winter Soldier to appreciate that. I mean, it'll give you a deeper appreciation for Sam as a character, right? But you don't actually need to see that. So I was glad that this seemed to kind of buck that trend, where this seems like the changes that it has, the changes that it includes, are going to have a deeper effect on the MCU. I definitely disagree with Dan that this doesn't matter. This is actually he treats these TV shows like appetizers, but it's just because me and Dan have had this argument with each other for as long as we've been friends, that I prefer TV, he prefers movies. He's a film buff. He likes the quick 2-hour story. That's why he gave Black Widow a 9. And I gave it a 7.5, right? Because Dan likes, a little bow tie at the end. He likes the big action ending where the Taskmaster and, and fucking Black Widow are, skydiving, all over the trailers, and fucking doing cool moves on the fucking falling debris and shit, right? But I prefer when, a finale is just 3 people in a room having a really fucking intense conversation. And what a conversation. If you just think it was just an exposition dump and nothing else, you're wrong. They do give the 2 main characters this choice. You have been spent all season railing against a fascist dictatorship. If you destroy this fascist dictatorship, you will cause pure chaos. You will bring a villain worse than Thanos into reality. Or you can choose to keep the peace by ruling the fascist dictatorship. And it kind of hits to the heart. Justin is seriously simplifying my viewpoint, or am I explaining it well? So, I think that was an interesting moral quandary, and you see, really, I mean, it goes back to the pilot, right? It goes back to the pilot where Loki literally stands in the middle of this place looking up at, the statue being like, is this the greatest power in the universe? And as much as he's changed, and you actually do see him change, right? Because when, it's a big clue to how much our Loki has changed over the course of the series, that in the 5th episode, when you see all of the Lokis are double-crossing each other, and it leads into that big Loki Smash Bros fight that they have, right? That's Jay Shanoyan's joke, that's not my joke. You see him just standing in the corner and rolling his eyes, because he is... because he's realized the futility of wanting to be the Loki that rules everything. He realizes that that's a dumb want for a Loki to have. So I thought that, you see a lot of character work there, right? That by the end of the 5th episode, you believe that he is somebody who loves Sylvie and wants to just take care of Sylvie. He wants Sylvie to be okay. He loves her, and of course it might be narcissistic because she is a version of him, but and still they love each other, and it's a love you root for. So at the very end, when she betrays him and pushes him through the portal, it's a great, for me, a very devastating moment for, because it's like, no, and when they kissed, I was like, hell yeah, we're gonna see some Loki fucking, we're gonna see some Loki bone. And then I was like, and then when she pushes him through, I'm like, no, Loki's aren't gonna bone. No, Loki's fucking.
All the fanfic, it's already happened. So.
Yeah. And then
that sounds weird that her name is Sylvie, Loki's daughter. I'm like, come on, man, this.
Yeah, that is weird. And then Dan's shitting on me. Wait, so okay, I just want to go back to what Dan's been saying, because he's been just ranting in the comments. I'm just making him. I can just imagine his face all red, him just typing on his phone. Just okay. So he said that Justin is addicted to the constant cliffhanger and twist culture of modern TV. Every little twist gives him a hit of dopamine. Yeah, I like TV. I like that. I like that shit, dude. You like big CGI battle scenes. You're like, yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah.
That gives you a hit of dopamine. So it's what's the difference in, I mean, as long as the plot is good and the story is good, just to address that. Because I saw that, I'm holding my tongue. I just want to throw Dan under the bus on that one. Whatever gives you a hit of dopamine and makes you excited should be good for you. That's a good thing. We want things to excite us, don't we?
Exactly. And then also he says, doesn't matter if it's not a cohesive story. One, I've pointed out multiple examples of how it is a more cohesive story than you're giving it credit for. That these themes in the final episode between these two characters absolutely was set up. I mean, you literally have a line from our Loki to Justin, you run an MCU podcast. I don't care. This is what I do. I love this. This is fun. Doesn't matter. So doesn't matter if it's not a cohesive story. Literally in episode 5, Loki says, she doesn't want to rule anything. She wants to destroy the TVA, and then that is absolutely foreshadowing to the decision where he's trying to convince her to rule the TVA. But he already said to other people she wants to destroy it. So deep down he knew that he wasn't going to win that argument. And then Jan said, calmer than you are, dude, calmer than you are. And then Justin, you run an MCU podcast. Yeah, because people watch it, and we've got 10 viewers right now. That's awesome. They should have kissed mid-season. I would have been down for that. I would have jerked off to that as much as I jerked off to this one. Did I say I love big CGI climaxes? Yes, you said it with the things you've given 9s. Yes, you've absolutely said it with the shit that you have raved about on my podcasts. And when did I say that? That's your dismissive take. No, that's me going by evidence that I have gathered. And then there's a bunch of comments I've missed. Shocking. Show needed more Owen Wilson. I'm right. I agree. That's why it's a 9 out of 10. It's a 9 because there's things that I can't, rationalize away as far as the direction isn't always amazing. It has some great moments. It has some very pedestrian moments, like Jere said. I think that the action scenes, especially in the first half of the season, especially in episode 3, are just like bad Power Rangers action scenes.
Careful! I love Power Rangers, but oh man, Dan. Wow.
Dan saying you are a poor detective. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not that. Well, because I'm not the bat nerd. I'm not. I'm not the greatest detective ever. Are we gonna do? And then Comic 1717 said, "Are we gonna do this entire show in reverse so that Dan Harrold could truly appreciate it?"
Thank you for that. Nice.
Oh, amazing, beautiful. I think just the action scenes. I think that the same way I felt like when I saw The Force Awakens in the theater in 2015. I saw it 3 times opening weekend and said, I really love this, but if the next 2 movies aren't, good, or especially if the last movie's terrible, this is going to affect how I feel about it overall, right? And then we got Rise of Skywalker. So, if season 2 sucks and where this is all leading sucks, then yes, this will look worse in retrospect. For right now, though, as far, based on it contextually right now in time, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. WandaVision, I would probably give an 8 out of 10 overall. I loved the first half of the season. I loved, all the different, and somebody who was just a kid growing up watching TV Land, watching fucking Nick at Night. It was super cool to see them do a lot of these sitcoms, but I definitely felt like the last 2 episodes just completely gave up on any sort of style. And then it just felt more like, the final act was just just kind of your cliche MCU finale. And like I said, I'm not big on big CGI battle vests. It was fine. I thought the Vision versus Vision scene had some cool dialogue about it. I thought it was kind of, part of it is it is kind of stupid that, okay, so Vision's not out of the MCU. We still have Vision in the MCU, right? Like, he's still out there somewhere. So I'm going to give that an 8. I'll give Falcon Winter Soldier a 7 because it's very obvious. There were a bunch of leaks saying that they were going to do a virus plotline, and even literally in the first episode, they are literally like the Flag Smashers are heisting a bunch of vaccines that are never mentioned again. And it just seems like they were going to do this whole pandemic plot line. And then the pandemic happened, and then Marvel was like, oh shit, we can't be edgy. Fucking scrub it clean. So that I think definitely hurt it. I definitely think that the Captain America side of the MCU is definitely not my favorite. I do appreciate that it was Marvel actually trying to tackle racism, trying to kind of do a plot line that Ike Perlmutter would have I don't know, is he still alive or is he dead? I don't know, but
he's around. Yeah, he's been silenced, but he's around and he's the worst.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, if he hasn't had, I would be, if we haven't heard from him in a while, it's probably because he had a stroke watching that. But overall, I'd probably give that a 7. So those are my ratings. We are going to go. Dan has been working very hard, guys. He's been working very hard in the comments. Just live rebuttaling.
The look on his face here to start. I just love it. It's amazing. If you guys are just listening, you need to get on screen real quick and take a look at the look in this man's face.
This is a man.
He's complaining that Sylvie's knees are too sharp. Oh no!
Oh,
because Dan, you did less than 2 minutes. Thank you, because Hugh went way over time. So here we go. Here's Dan's 2-minute review of Loki.
So this is the thing about the Loki finale. It was just okay. It was all right. It kind of reminded me of the scene in Matrix Reloaded when Neo talked to the architect, and the architect kind of just sat there and explained the plot for 10 minutes, and then the movie kind of ended. And that was kind of what the Loki finale was like. There were some interesting revelations there, but they didn't really make it, super dramatic. It was kind of just Jonathan Majors playing Kang, I guess. Didn't really give me much reason to care about him yet, other than he's a cool character in the comic books, which for the show, that's not enough. That's possible potential. That's not good yet. And he kind of just sat there and just kind of explained the plot to Loki, and then Loki went back to his world, but it wasn't his world. And that ending kind of reminded me of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. So yeah, the Loki finale, it reminded me of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes mixed with The Matrix Reloaded, and I found it kind of underwhelming. It kind of just ended. There wasn't really a climax or, finishing of character arc. I'm sure Justin's going to say something climax about like the, B-level philosophy of like they're going to have to make a moral choice here. I mean, that stuff was okay, but I didn't think it was anything outstanding. Yeah, it just kind of ended. It seemed like a preview for upcoming Marvel projects instead of being like a satisfying story on its own. So that's why I would say that the Loki finale was underwhelming.
How do you summarize that other than it was like two things I didn't like, so I didn't like it, right? I don't know. Am I wrong here, guys?
No, you're right, but it was definitely better than an IGN thing. So I'll give Dan credit for that. Thank you for not being a troll for a second, being a troll. But that was...
Yeah, I love Simply Bex's comment too. She's like, "Wait, did you see the part where Sylvie stabbed Kang and the universe split apart?"
The universe is completely destroyed thanks to this choice. It's gigantic.
Don't know. We just saw a bunch of fucking lines go and but we don't actually see. Like I said in the comments, things could be just fine. I know they won't be. From the evidence we have, it's just a fucking line that branches off a bunch of times. They could just be like, fuck, we don't care about this anymore.
I want to rebuttal that because actually when Loki goes, when he's in the alternate TVA, you see Mobius, God, fuck that movie. Mobius and B-15 are looking at one of the Tempads, and they are seeing all the branching timelines. So we know that the multiverse is going crazy.
Yeah, but we don't know that that's a bad thing. It's
true. But we know that it's a thing.
Yeah, we know that it's meant to be a bad thing, but we don't really see that. We just kind of have a glancing idea that, Also, did they ever, to respond to Comics 1717, did they actually say it was Nathaniel Richards?
No, not yet. They have not given his name other than he who remains. I mean, more likely, it's probably Immortus. I'm sure
it's Immortus. Yeah, I mean the one he who remains again a little different than the comics, but I mean we're really splitting hairs because they're all the same guy.
Right. Yeah.
So the thing that is important, and someone actually sent me a direct message after this. The which one's Kang now? I'm like they're all Kang. It's complicated. They're all Kang. They're all different timeline Kangs. Yeah,
they're all Loki. They all just have different life experiences. This guy ends up the world worry, savior of the universe, and he says, "I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore." And he's getting out one way or the other. Either
he's being serious,
advocating the throne or he's getting killed. He's totally cool with it. And it's somebody mentioned how great his acting was. Yeah. He's about to die one way or the other. He knows it. And it's this moment of he's fearful, but he's jubilant. He knows that it's happening. It's amazing.
It's a great role. Such a great scene.
No, and he's trying to get across, I think, to both Loki and Sylvie that either way this plays out, he's lived each of their lives. Like he's lived the life that Loki wants to live. He's lived the choice that Loki wants to make. He's lived Sylvie's life. He's lived the choice Sylvie wants to make. Like all this is happening. So when people are like, "Oh, this is talking," I'm like, I see your point, but also like there's a lot of stuff going on that I think at least I thought he was conveying pretty well.
I also liked that moment when all of a sudden he hears something, right? I forget, it's like a thunder or something. And it's like, this is the point where I don't know what happens. And it kind of makes me feel like, he's had this conversation multiple times, right? He's had, maybe like Matrix Architect style, where this is the sixth iteration or whatever, and so it always goes up to this point and then he doesn't know because it's different every time. I don't know. I thought that was cool, and I was riveted.
Can I talk about? I have a point about that point because he also he picks up the thing and he drops it, to see, and he's like not sure because there's that whole meme like it's been on for the past couple of decades about like a guy who says like if Jesus was real, like what, and he puts on the chalk or whatever, and like it's like gravity and the chalk's gonna fall, and then one time the guy's like I believe in Jesus, and then like the chalk like doesn't fall the right way, and I was like, oh, are they referencing that like that weird meme? And maybe this is just me because I have ADHD. I don't think things linearly, but I thought like. That scene was just packed with so many things, and also let's go back to Ike Perlmutter. The fact that, like, he hates the fact that, like, at the end of time, the most powerful dude is a brother.
Fuck yeah!
The last TV agent is a sister, and then he's got like another sister working with Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Like this is worst nightmare. How could you not like this? But calm down.
Yeah, and what a cast, right? I mean, they got like in my opinion, the two best actors from Lovecraft Country. I think the woman who played Renslayer was fantastic. I thought Owen Wilson was fantastic as well. This is probably my favorite Owen Wilson performance, probably outside of certain Wes Anderson movies. And I'm so excited it's coming back because we get more of him. I just love this. Okay,
Can I confess something? I didn't know it was Owen Wilson until the end of the first episode. That's how good he was. I didn't know. I had no idea. Like, who's this crazy dude?
To be fair, his hair is different compared to
Are you not eating enough applesauce or apples, Randy?
He was great. He was really great. It was a unique characterization. It wasn't just wow, man. No, he was terrific.
I mean, even if I didn't know at first, the moment where he's like, I like that you're up there and I'm down here. It feels right. I respect that, you know?
Well, it's giving me some major Owen Wilson vibes.
Yes.
Didn't know. Oh, Jesus, it's him. Okay. He's great. And he was great. He was great throughout.
But then Dan says, but you need to make your point in a visual way. That's the medium. I want to see Kang's life and experiences. See, I don't think that's always
needed.
Yeah.
I think
we're gonna see it in the next.
Yeah, I think like I think the visual storytelling in that scene was done via direction and camera work. I think that actually you really did. It's a good way to handle that. It being a conversation in a room, like Simply Beck said earlier, like it makes you feel that you're in the room there and have to make a decision based on just what someone's telling you. So you're there with them in that moment. I think that's a really good point. And
I'm very into the last episode as like a short story. Like if you wrote that down as like a short story, like in a sci-fi magazine, it would be enthralling. It'd be very well done. I think some of the unevenness is just having to have a Marvel character or two, whatever, wind up in that area, and you got to set that up and explain that. But like as a standalone piece of like writing and directing and storytelling, I think they did a very good job with that one episode.
And so Simply Beck says, I think the show asked a lot from us to care about quote-unquote Kang when introduced so late and only providing exposition and then kill him. Yeah, because we know that we're getting more of him. And then immediately at the very end, we get a statue with his face on it that looks completely different than he did. Different haircut and everything. I
will say I hate that. I think Beck's not wrong. But I also think that I hate that, like, you can wave that away because we quote unquote know we're getting so much more from. Like, it should not depend on things that we've heard from the internet, you know?
Wait. Okay, yeah, exactly. And then Comic 1717 pointing out one of the best movies of last year, and Justin will agree, was Scare Me. That wasn't visual at all, exactly. And said you can do a ton without being visual. And that's why I loved Scare Me, and that's why I was so underwhelmed by that director's follow-up movie, Werewolves Within, because that movie showed a lot more than it told, and the showing wasn't nearly as compelling as the previous movie's telling. And also, I think, I don't know if everybody's seen the show, so I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil it, but I will say that the finale of the show, The Leftovers, is one of my favorite TV show finales of all time, because it boils down to two characters having a conversation, and one of the characters goes on a very long monologue that is extremely well acted. And it's kind of similar to what this was, where the other character who's hearing the monologue has to decide whether or not they believe that character based on it. But we don't get we don't get the TV series showing us the scenes that they're narrating, so it's all, you have to either believe it or not, and, especially in this show, one character believes it, one character doesn't. Yeah, show don't tell is like filmmaking 101, first thing they teach at film school. Yeah, but that's like film school, dude. Like that's, the best directors are the ones who have kind of gone and rewritten the rules, man. Like that's not a hard rule, Sometimes you can tell, and if you tell in a very interesting, cool way, it can be better than showing. I just provided an example of that. Anyway, so let's just get it out of the way. Hugh's reviews, Hiddlesimps edition. Jesus, goddamn fucking Christ, Hugh. Let's just let him go.
Good evening, Hiddlesimps. I hope you've had fun spending all your money on Loki, because I'm here to say that the OnlyFans
Part of my
page
subscription
is coming down. I'm sorry, guys, but the whole series was trash. I really wanted to like it. Out of the 3 Disney Plus Marvel shows, it was probably my favorite. But that said, I had high hopes for it, and I was pretty disappointed. And here's why. First things first, there was absolutely zero narrative continuity or real stakes. It starts off as a detective show, and I got excited for that. I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston just gallivanting around as detectives and solving a larger mystery. But as soon as they find out who Sylvie is, Sylvie joins up with Loki, and then it's a completely different show. It just becomes the Wizard of Oz, and they didn't do anything interesting with that like multiverse detective premise. So I count that as one.
I don't know. I'm going to pause it right there. That's just Hugh. That's just Hugh assuming that was the premise, right? That was never the actual premise.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
That is what they set up in the first episode. That is what was promised, as much as that was the premise of the first episode. That's where we left off, and that was kind of the point of it. So I agree with him that they wrapped it up very quickly.
I don't know, but I
don't know.
It just feels like Hugh hates twists to me. Anyway, let's keep going.
Doing is with the death sticks. The whole series, you get hit with the death stick, it seems like they evaporate, and then it turns out, no, they just get sent to some alternate dimension.
You just don't like the twist with that.
Which completely undermines the emotional weight of having
he hates
Mobius
twists.
And Loki.
It's not even necessarily a twist, it's an explanation for what's actually happening.
In the
Not
moment,
even a twist.
I thought both deaths were...
And we've even talked about, even before we got the big reveal on what happens in the Void and all that, that we were talking about that they never called it killing. They always specifically called it pruning, and we never got a full explanation for what pruning was. And we always assumed that there was going to be another dimension to that. So any even remotely keen-eyed observer would have figured that out, that maybe that's not what we think it is.
Extremely necessary. I was looking forward to Owen Wilson, Tom Hiddleston doing a buddy cop escape from the lab hijinks thing, and then they just both disappear instantly. Furthermore, there was a lot of build-up to Mobius getting woke to what the TVA was actually up to, the reality of things, and then as soon as he learns the truth, he just gets got. So I found that a little anticlimactic. I want to see him have this emotional revelation and also explore that, with Loki, because up until that point they had been butting heads, and now they're finally on the same page, and then they're dead, presumably. But okay, the death sticks are fake. I can learn to live with that. But then they spend precisely one episode dealing with the ramifications of this reveal. We've got all these crazy Lokis at the end of the stinger for episode whatever, and then the next episode, they barely factor into the story at all. They're just basically showing the other Loki around, and then they all get into a brawl or die. So all the Lokis don't really matter at all. The big Xerox copy
except
of
the two that we're following.
Cloud is just overcome with
our actual
simple
viewpoint characters.
telepathy trick,
Right.
and that's the end of that. That's not ongoing drama, ongoing stakes, ongoing world even. Because the very next episode is just an exposition dump and a setup for Ant-Man, Spider-Man 3, and Multiverse of Madness. It spent such little time on the 6 leads that you could have plucked them out of the story and gotten the exact same result. In fact, Loki's character was completely neutered in this. He's supposed to be the god of mischief, and he doesn't do any mischief. He doesn't pull a single prank. He lies to get out of jail. That's not a prank. No. That's just a survival tactic.
Okay, wait. Go off right now.
Go on, Ra.
Go off, King.
It doesn't have to be pranks to be a mischief. It's just He's a chaos. He's a change. Okay, he changed. He's got to change himself. Okay, he already broke. He already caused Ragnarok. He feels guilty about that. That's done. He needs to change. And it says there's not much he can do. You want him to go around and be like walk up behind people, like attach like helium balloons to their belt so they float up into space. Like I want to see him with like pranks.
More pranks. Yeah. Listen, more Jackass style pranks, please.
Yeah.
I will say.
Hey, this is Loki. This is called ball bowling. I'm gonna roll a skateboard. Hit me my balls. Jackass!
I agree with everything Hugh says about the show overall, but I disagree about everything about Loki. By the end, they've pretty much established that he's changed and he's searched for or like figured out he's meant for a bigger purpose, or that he can serve a bigger purpose than his own, becoming a king of whatever. So
this is the story of how he becomes a hero. This is how he becomes the dude he always envied Thor for being. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was fairly obvious, but again, I don't know.
And maybe the betrayal at the end there turns him back to being, chaos Loki crazy guy. We don't know. He was almost there, and she screwed it up. So,
Or also, first of all, I mean, there are two Lokis, so either way, this is going to be chaotic. But also, and Hugh, I don't take offense to this. You did a good job so far. I think you're just wrong at this point, but you can be chaotic in different ways. And I think part of what the original source material, from all the poems back in the day, and also the comic books, show that they're simply like Loki just piecing out and be like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to be part of your story, is also chaotic to the Norse gods. So I think the problem that people have with this is that this is just like a small sliver of the story. Again, we're not sure the full journey Loki is going to take. But he has taken a significant journey in this one. Also, we're not sure if this is Nathan Richards or Nathan Stark. We're not sure about the Fantastic Four and Doom and how it's going to play with Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. Maybe we just need to wait a little bit. This is I get it. This is a very big puzzle we're putting together, but. Mischief, come on, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to direct. I was just like, that's
no. I'm trust me. I'm like hard just listening to you.
It would have been pretty good though if they met the Loki who's like the YouTube prankster. Like, yo, it's a prank, bro. It's a prank, bro. It's just water. It's not acid. I throw it in your face, bro.
Loki Paul here, everybody.
Go check it out. In this episode, we're gonna throw water in people's faces and pretend it's acid.
We're in the suicide forest.
It's a prank, bro.
Batner says, "Do we even want Loki to be a hero?" And he's a top 3 MCU villain. And Josh says he's not going to stay a hero. That's the only constant. Hey, look. I think some of the great stories in all of literature is a guy who wants to change, right? Or a woman who wants to change. Or someone who's like been a villain, or maybe from their perspective they're a hero, but no one sees that they're a hero. And this is like Loki trying to explain to people, actually, guys, I'm not that bad of a person. Like, I don't like what J.J. Abrams did with Star Wars, but I do like what we did with Alias. And I maintain that some of the best storylines in Alias was when the bad guys were like, crap, we're bad. We should probably try to be good. And then all the tension that came up as they try to be good. So yeah, I think this is great. This is worth our time to see. Why am I hot right now? Why am I?
Because you're wearing a cloak with a towel around your neck.
I also want to point out that Loki the villain had a complete arc in the MCU. You had how many? Like Thor 1, Thor 2, Thor 3. You had Avengers 1. I don't think he was in Avengers 2, but Avengers 3. So you have multiple movies of Loki being the villain, and then he dies. And that is the death of the Loki we know. Loki the villain. He dies a heroic death, but ultimately he was always kind of the trickster. He was always a prankster. This is the story of a new Loki that aspires to be something different, who meets a version of himself that he loves, and I think it's very well done. I'm rooting for Loki to have sex with himself, and I want to watch that. But I don't think I like that they're doing something original. You want it to be more predictable. You want it to be more predictable. Like that is the kind of the fundamental of what I'm hearing here. It's just I'm just mad that I couldn't predict it enough. Is what I'm getting. I like that it was unpredictable. I like that it was a bait and switch. We thought it was going to be a cop show, and then it was Wizard of Oz with Loki's in the background. And also, I just want to say, if anybody, we do put these on Spotify and like podcast every I think podcast network. And if you're listening to the audio of this, check out the video. Go to go because there is a whole fucking discussion in the comments that we could not possibly get to.
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
is amazing. That is scrolling on screen, and you can see people rage tweeting in real time, and it is amazing. Anyway,
and I'm wearing a purple towel, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and Rasheed is wearing a purple towel, and then Bettner begins says, "I want the story to make sense." I think it does. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna you never mind. I was gonna bring up Tenet, but I don't even care anymore. Okay. Once more, Hugh's reviews, Hiddlesimps edition.
The guy spends half the show in jail and the other half of the show becoming one of the good guys, because with Disney, you're not allowed to root for the bad guy. It's kind of, it feels like Vegeta, it's like he's not the evil prince, now he's one of the gang kicking it with Goku. It's the same shit, and it's like, I just want a bad guy. For a series called Loki, I want a bad guy, and I want somebody playing tricks on people, and we didn't get either of those. Furthermore, I feel like there's just been a Flanderization of his character. If you go back to the old Thor movies, he's a menacing guy, he's serious, and in this he's just cracking jokes. Not that Hiddleston isn't great doing that, but I feel like it's just it's yet another victim of this Marvel sarcasm machine that takes no prisoners whatsoever. And I feel like at this point it's pretty played out. It's a Joss Whedonism thing that has now just been a staple of every single superhero movie that's come out since, and I'm tired of it, man. I want a character who cares. I won't say that I wasn't hyped at certain points.
Real quick, just pausing real quick to read these comments. Comic 1717 says, "Wait, you wanted Chris Angel Mind Freak?" And then Miss Knox says, "Is this just trolling or ... Okay, anyway, let's keep going.
So no, one thing I want to say, so Hugh, he has this incredible, eloquent way of speaking and really good, cut. He edited the video, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame that all this really good quality, production and is wasted on such a shit opinion. It's like, if you were just saying something other than a terrible opinion, I'd be like, wow, man, this guy's amazing. I want to. Dude, what's you got a YouTube? I gotta check that out.
I think the word Flanderization.
I can't wait for Hugh's. I can't wait for Hugh's show on the Daily Wire network. That's gonna be such a great series. Here we go.
Episodes throughout the series. But as a whole, I think it's a beginning and an end in search of a middle. And another thing, the timekeepers weren't real, okay? So it's not a detective show like it looked like it was.
This is the worst opinion of all of them.
Also, the timekeepers aren't real. They're just, and they looked sick.
I wanted the timekeepers to be
sick,
real,
bro. But then they're just robots. Come on,
robots. Come on,
those guys.
Wizard of Oz.
I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. The obvious twist was a twist.
It's really cool that you guys had someone on just to shit on his opinion for half an hour or an hour, maybe however long it takes.
I told him this would happen, and he was absolutely
sure,
literally.
But it's that's exhausting. Whatever.
Okay, all right. Jere's Team Hugh. That's awesome. Okay, here we go.
And instead, Kang is just a coked up Riddler instead of the blue freak that we all thought we were getting. And maybe one of them will be the blue freak. I know there's a million of them, but come on, just give us the menacing blue freak and not this exposition dump, which is just set up for all the other movies. The other thing is, if the timekeepers are going to be fake, don't reveal that halfway through the series. Save that to the end. Make that the finale. And then have the Kang reveal the season 2 finale or something, or midway through season 2, whatever. Save Kang for season 2. Timekeepers are fake, big reveal in the finale. I think that would have been better pacing. This just seems so rushed. They do all of this elaborate world building and then they tear it down immediately. It's literally just going through the motions to get you to the end where they need to set up Ant-Man and Spider-Man. And that's it. And the thing was only 6 episodes. I mean, couldn't we have gotten 8, 10, just a more spread out series where we have time to digest what's happening and these twists and these reversals of the world building don't have to happen so quickly. And I think the fact that they come so quickly is what makes them feel cheap. We didn't spend enough time in like Detective World before going to Wizard of Oz. We didn't spend enough time in Wizard of Oz before going to Avengers 5, basically. Finally, the Kang reveal was also not that satisfying. It was hype if you follow casting rumors, but narratively it fell flat. This is the finale. Show us the creation of the TVA. Show us Kang's backstory if it's that important. Don't have him like do these little miniatures made out of ectoplasma sand or whatever the hell. I want to see it with my own 2 eyes. What am I paying $19.99 or whatever the fuck? I think it's like $19 because I have the Hulu package and I get ESPN Plus for some reason. I want my money's worth, goddammit. Show me Kang being a scientist in the 31st century and then a bunch of guys come out of nowhere. I mean, that would be hype. Mm-hmm. Not some guy sitting there and talking. And I mean, the actor did a good job, but it's like, what is this? Give me the blue freak from the comics. I want my blue freak. And I'll tell you what else I want. I also want all of this Kang nonsense to somehow tie into the 2 Loki's character arcs, which they didn't really have much of. They spent the entire arc turning Loki into a good guy, and then Sylvie is basically just kind of flat. And then I guess they throw in this thing at the end
Sylvie's
about
flat?
I can't trust and you don't trust or whatever the fuck. And it's like, it just feels tacked on. Like, I wanted to see actual growth, Now you're going to be, but Hugh, how can you have character growth and expect Loki to stay evil? It's like, well, could we just have some of him being evil? Could we just not
episode 5
get right into it like that?
Get a bunch of evil Lokis.
Long story short, to me, it seems like Feige's whole MO is just proving Reddit nerds wrong. He doesn't want any fan theory to be correct. He wants to get one over on the nerds. It's like, I bet you thought that Fox's Quicksilver was coming to the MCU. Psych. His name is Boner, you fucking idiot.
I love that. That was great.
But the fan theory here actually was correct, though.
Psych.
The fan theory the whole time.
Timekeepers aren't real, bro. Pranked ya. And, it's like, it feels like a twist for twist's sake. It's honestly like a hacky Vince Gilligan impression. Anyway, that's my time. Guess I have to go prune myself. See you later, Simps.
I said he didn't have jokes.
He got to the joke.
I do love that fucking I love so much about that. I will say, and here's the thing, and I know Jere, I know Jere put it out, I was shitting on him, but I hope that everybody knows that at the end of the day, this is, fucking superhero content aimed at fucking teenagers to sell toys. And I like this and I'm defending it, but also, I mean, I hold nothing against anybody and I'm super glad that both Dan and Hugh are interacting, but I did also pitch it to them as I want you to you create a video with your opinion that I think is terrible so I can play it on my podcast and call it terrible in real time. You know what I mean?
They were effective heels. Good job, guys.
It's a part of nerd culture that I fucking hate. That's the thing. That's the only my own, if you don't have the same opinion as everyone else, you're out of the fucking tribe. Like,
but
no, they're in the tribe. Listen, Dan is in my tribe. Like, Dan is the man, and I don't know Hugh, but I like. It's not their opinions about this doesn't change the way I feel about them as individuals. It's just a good debate.
Yeah. But also, Dan got kind of popular for his opinions in the Shushy Cinema group, but then he got Twitch affiliate based on the people who saw him on my shows and who have followed him onto his channel to watch him play Resident Evil. So, I mean, it's and Hugh knows what he was signing up for, and I hope everybody knows as much as shitty and much of an asshole as I'm being, and as giggly and high pitched as my voice gets. I hope you know that Dan, just to get credit for Dan's popularity. Yes, I made you. I made you. You would be no Dan without me. No, I am the end all be all.
I made you. I am Dan Harrold.
Yeah. And also, this is, I think we might have hit our we might have almost tied our record for concurrent live viewers. So clearly, it's working.
Drama works.
You're welcome.
And I hope that they know that I love them. I hope that Dan and Hugh, and I also think that the editing and just it sounded. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch hours of YouTube a day because my life is empty outside of this, and Hugh could be a YouTuber. I mean, that was actually fantastic. Just from an editing, I don't agree with any of the content, but just the editing and just again, it was well filmed and he sounded nice. He sounded like he was a guest on the show. Sounded better than Rasheed's sounded all episode. So I think Hugh could be a YouTuber. I think Hugh,
you think about that. Honestly, your editing and your production is fantastic. I mean, just don't review Loki. And I mean, other than that, everything's good. I think
you got one thing right. It should have been longer. We should have had more good. More good would be more great. My 10 out of 10 is The Good Place. This could have been that kind of show. This could have been that many more episodes. But it wasn't, so it's a 9. Okay.
I loved The Good Place, but I did feel like the final episode was weirdly pro-suicide in a way that me as somebody who's had issues with that, with suicidal ideations. I was are they telling me to do it? Are they telling me to kill myself? Because in a video game, of course. Benner Begins said they only build us up to tear us down. Might be the first episode of any of my podcasts that I rewatch in full. Because I've gone back and watched clips and stuff in the past just to see how everything actually looks to a viewer. But I do want to just track all of the comments because there have been a million comments that I just cannot get to. So I do want to just point out because Jere made me feel guilty. I do love Dan and Hugh, and at the end of the day, we are all fighting the same battle against capitalism. And
right.
we are.
We really failed in that regard.
Battling it with our views,
right?
With our clicks and our Amazon orders.
Good job not letting your kids watch Space Jam while you're trying to do a podcast, and now they won't get off of Space Jam. Might be texting my wife. Can you please turn off Space Jam so I can do this podcast?
Okay. But does anybody? I don't want to go around, but anybody who wants to just stand up and has anything else they want to say about Hugh's video, Hugh's dissertation that he just laid on us? Does anybody? Jere, do you? I mean, I know that you.
I think I was half. I'm half on board with what Hugh says. I think everything he says about the show overall, especially the part about it being a beginning and end that didn't have a real middle to it. It's kind of goopy in the middle. It doesn't have a real structure to it. And I don't agree with saying that just throwing away your premise as a twist, quote unquote. I think that's just bad writing, and it's throughout, just kind of the strength overall. I think is that Marvel does a really good job of finding actors who jive well together, and or at least edits them well enough to work well together, even though they're not often in the same room. So yeah, I think he's underrating the journey of Loki as an interesting idea, especially because this is a variant of whatever the fuck from the one that we already quote unquote know. So yeah, I think it's it'd be very funny if that was a random online video. I think so I think he's got a lot of good points that you guys are underrating, but I think we also have a lot of recency bias going on for just the show that just ended a week ago.
That might be valid. Yeah. I think I'm gonna, in retrospect, like this a lot more than WandaVision, because even in you were on those podcasts with me. Yeah. The last 2 episodes of WandaVision, I was I like it, but I definitely like this the least.
There was a lot more promise in the beginning than the end, and I think we all knew that it was kind of gonna settle down into the normal Marvel thing eventually, but it really really settled into the normal Marvel thing. So actually, Hugh's criticisms got me to kind of like Loki a little bit more. Not enough to change my rating, but like I appreciate it a little bit more. Just some of the things that he said that I disagreed with. So.
Also, I just want to actually shout out Sybil Enigma, who's been just randomly gifting subs to a bunch of different people on the channel. Just subbed one to Murderman Jones, so congrats, Murderman Jones. Subbed one to Rasheed. Congrats, Cool Hand Draw. You got a tier 1 sub from Sybil Enigma. So
free, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Sybil. It's amazing.
And I owe you a Film Sims. I owe you an updated Film Sims T-shirt, so hit me up for that. And also hope you're enjoying the Disney Plus login I gave you. Yay, woo! She's on it. Okay, but does anybody have anything else to say about Hugh's opinion that we haven't already shouted?
Yes, I do, and it's say a lot, which is that in this case, they wrote this, they filmed, they directed. This was made like months ago. Like, and they made it, they kind of locked it down, and then they aired it. And I've seen, and this is not just directed at Hugh, but some other people said, oh, they just don't want us to be right. They don't want us to give us what we want. No, they do. They're not doing what Vince McMahon commonly does in wrestling, where he, like, if he sees what the audience is doing, if he doesn't like it, he'll change on the fly. This is not changing on the fly. So I don't think it's really fair to say, oh, well, they're trying to do all the twists and turns because they don't want us and they want the Reddit community to be right. Honestly, I don't think they really are thinking about that. They're just trying to do the story. And I think that there's not enough time for them to really like change on the fly like that. Because this was 6 weeks in a row? No, it probably took them 6 weeks to do like 1 or 2 episodes and do because all the effects and everything. So that's not really my main criticism. I think that they're not really doing this stuff to trick us. They're actually trying to tell us a cohesive story.
I just branch off of that. I think like nerd culture or the internet overall like gets in their own heads a little bit because so much comes out, and some of it is legitimate leaks, and some of it's just rumors, and then like you get people who just have all these fan theories, and people are like that makes a lot of sense, and then like Mobius doesn't show up in or whatever, Mephisto doesn't show up in WandaVision. Everyone's like, what the fuck? They were hinting at it the whole time, but it was like, nah, you were like fucking conspiracy theory nut over there with a whiteboard, a bunch of yarn. Like that's not what they promised at all. You just thought it. I think that's gonna happen. That might happen again when Spider-Man comes out, and it's like Tobey Maguire was in it for half a minute, and everyone's like, well, they never promised you that he'd be in it for the whole time.
Yeah. True. Also, I do want to put it so Murderman Jones said that, wait, this is Hugh from the Shushy Cinema group. I wouldn't have been as mean had I known that. And then I just want to highlight this old comment, the first comment he wrote. Can I hear a rundown from everyone on what they think his beard smells like? Which I'm so glad you didn't know that was Hugh that you knew.
You thought we were going to skip that comment, huh?
Having met Hugh, I think it's some kind of nice shampoo, but it's been a long pandemic, so it might have changed.
But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about? Oh shit! Wait, Simply Bex is gifted subs like a motherfucker to Egg Mango Peach, Hugh Guiney, Nosebreak 666. I don't even know who that is. Swing Dingling, bored already. Sweet.
Holy shit!
So thank you for the gift subs,
thanks,
Simply Bex. That's the one. I have money in my pocket. But yeah, does anybody? Okay, so we've heard from Jere. Mikey, did you want to say anything additional about Hugh's opinion?
So I just want to say one thing, and that thing is not about the specific opinions, but I do think there's a lot of, so all jokes aside, there's a lot of value in hearing dissenting opinions. I think it's easy to get into a place where like in media, like you just hear like, I want to listen to the positive reviews of things I like. There's a lot of value because like Jere said, he's like actually strengthened his view of what he disagrees about and made him like it more. And I think that's one of those things when you expose yourself to opinions you don't agree with, a lot of times it does remind you why you disagree. I think that's a good thing. And I commend both of them for being for putting themselves on the chalice. I appreciate that. Both Hugh and Dan, thank you for reinforcing why I love this show so much and being good sports. So that's it.
Nice. And also, Comic1717 said that he already subscribed. He's better than all of you. And Sybil already subscribed. And Dan only subbed to me after I subbed to him. I was his first sub on his Twitch channel. Okay. Randy, do you have anything else you want to say about Hugh's opinion or just in defense of the show in general?
No, I like I said, he was right about the length of the show, but otherwise, it was, it was just silly. Being mean for mean's sake is unnecessary here. He did fine. He did a fine job with his presentation, even if it was totally wrong.
I agree. He did fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and whatever everybody. Rasheed, you said something. Did you want to say anything else, or are we good?
Oh, no, we're good. I think I got everything I wanted to say. Thanks.
Sweet. Okay, sweet. And I guess it's my turn. Well, disagree. All right, let's move on. Yeah, I don't like it. Although I do agree that Hugh, that was great. That was just as somebody who's been running these podcasts for almost a year, and we've had every type of person coming in and send videos and shit, and I mean, compared to like some of the shit that Dave Vidala has given me for our Fast and the Furious podcast, it was like, oh my god, you edited this? Oh my god, there's like you could see clear cuts when you were like, probably don't need to say that. Let's just chip that out. Like, whew, that was nice.
You can send us like a video of you watching a bird or whatever.
Yeah, he sent me 2 random videos. Wait, Mikey was on that episode. He sent like 2 random videos. One was like super awkward, where like just 2 guys were awkwardly wrestling, like 2.
It was incoherent.
Yeah, 2 frat bro looking motherfuckers were like. I was weird, but I was like, I'm playing this whole video on the show because this is weird. But anyway,
I think you did a very good job, Hugh. Though, I mean, with the caveat that setting up the correct video brings you at a 5 out of 10 automatically.
That which ironically was my rating for Tenet. Okay, okay, and then Hugh deserves the attention for the excellent critique. I'm just more obnoxious, And Dan said, "Oh, I don't think that Loki was good enough to warrant such a response." It was. All right. So we're moving past the criticism. Everybody knows how everybody feels about this show. I want to talk about the MCU. We're going to get back into speculation mode. This is going to be the final segment of the show. So we're going to go around, and I know, it's all set up for the next thing. That's what Marvel is, baby. So what's the next thing going to look like? When's the next time we're seeing Kang? Are we going to see him in season 2? I think we're seeing him in season 2, personally. We're going to see him Ant-Man Quantumania. Is he the next big bad? Or do you think it's going to be a fake out and it's Wanda? I think at one point Dan said that it would be hilarious if Kang just dies in Quantumania and then they just kind of Ralph Boner it where he's just never mentioned again. That would be amazing. I like it when Marvel trolls us. But so what does everybody think is going to happen? Let's start with Randy. Where do you think the MCU as a whole goes from this point on, my friend?
No, we're not going to see Kang or anything related to this story for at least a year and a half, other than maybe like end credit stuff with Eternals. Those need their own standalone universes. They're rebuilding the universe with brand new characters and the occasional Abomination showing up.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a fine idea. Good move there. But it's new characters. They need to breathe their own life. They do not need to be connected to the overall MCU yet. Give them time. So no, I don't think we're going to hear much from them for a year or so. That's my feeling anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Also, I just want to point out, Dan says, I think Kang is going to die in Ant-Man 3, and it's just another twist Justin will hail as brilliant, even though it's just throwing up all the setup. I think that, we've established that there's an infinite amount of Kang, so even if he does die in Ant-Man 3, that doesn't mean he's not coming back. That's just the rules that they have said. And here's the thing, I don't think it makes the story worse. I think that's just your opinion. I like it when the story is... I like it when I don't know what's going to happen next, because as somebody who took AP creative writing, in high school and shit, and at one point wanted to, went to college for English. I like it when something is, I can't absolutely predict an ending from the first episode, which happens with a lot of bullshit I see both in movies and TV. Like I called the Black Widow ending from the fucking trailers. I mean, that's why Black Widow can't be more than a 7.5 to me. Anyway, let's go to Rasheed. Rasheed, what do you think?
Well, so I'm looking at the release schedule. So next we have coming out Shang-Chi, Eternal, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I think we'll probably see some version of Kang in Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. So I don't think this is the last we'll see him. I think Comment 1717 said, another Ben Kingsley Mandarin. No thanks. I agree. I do not want what they did with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. So I really do hope that we see him. But I think Randy's right. It's probably not going to be for a while. Although it would be cool if we saw him at the end of the year in Spider-Man, at least No Way Home. I think that would be a good place to put, especially if that's going to do some sort of like multiversal thing. But that's my guess. At least we see him in Doctor Strange, but I hope we see him by Spider-Man.
All right. Okay. All right. Mikey, your turn.
Yeah, so I think this is a really exciting time for the MCU in my viewpoint, especially coming out of this series, because for me, what I see is, I think, again, like Randy's right, where we have all these setup movies, we have Eternals, we have Shang-Chi, all these present day things happening, or, semi-present day, but really the repercussions from Loki is something that takes place post 31st century, although how it affects the timeline is kind of a question still. But I think this is definitely leading up to the next Avengers movie, which to me is, many people have said, this is my big long-term speculation, is they're going to go Secret Wars. It is the absolute best modern event in comics by far. Mm-hmm. Instead of it being Doctor Doom, who's running Battle World, where they take these pieces of all these saved timelines and saved places, put them on one planet, one timeline, one world, with like walls between them. You just have Kang in charge of that, saving what he can in that universe. It's a story that is way better than it has any right to be, especially for a modern crossover in Marvel Comics, which they're yearly at this point, and most of them are terrible. To me, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely where they're going to go, but I also think they're going to take their time going there. We're going to see, Kang as a antagonist throughout a bunch of different series in different iterations, but I don't think we're going to really fully see his full defeat or conclusion until we get to the next Avengers movie.
All right. Okay. All right, Jere. Right. For the last time for a while, speculate the MCU, my friend.
Yeah, I will. I'll defer to Mikey in terms of like specifics as far as them doing Secret Wars, which I kind of agree with based on what I know. I'm just looking, like Rasheed was. I'm looking at the release schedule, and God, I did not realize that Ant-Man and Wasp is like February 2023. That's so wild. Right. But looking at the schedule, I feel like we could see more of like the repercussions of this like finale versus without actually seeing like Kang himself ever, like until Ant-Man, or maybe as a post-credits thing for some of the other ones, because we got between now and Ant-Man, we got Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Panther, and Marvels. And I could imagine the repercussions of it being felt throughout, but not necessarily seeing Kang until Ant-Man. And maybe that is where he dies, and that's the end of that. Or maybe it's not. We're a ways away from that, and I think we're more likely to see him in small roles here or there, if at all, between then and now. Especially with the more earthly stuff they got lined up, like Hawkeye, or I can see it factoring into Miss Marvel, but not being the big thing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Finally, my turn. And also, just want to point out what this conversation has done to my hair for this episode.
I noticed that. People really got to watch the video on this episode.
Yeah, this is one where you can't miss. Most of these are probably better if you don't see our faces. But what do I think is going to happen? I think that there's going to be an absolute banger Wood Rocket Loki parody. And like most Wood Rocket porn parodies, I'm gonna find it more interesting looking than erotic. It's gonna be like, oh, this was like funny and like well done, but I don't know if I can jerk off to this and still like feel okay about myself.
And they can all do stroke him on. I'm happy.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. So that's a solid 2 hours. That was a pretty good episode. I want to thank our robust fucking comment section I think we might have hit an all-time. We might have hit the high score for comments on Film Simps video or Film Simps live broadcast. So thanks to all of you. Batnerd Begins, of course. Hugh Guiney, aka Dan Harrold. Well, I mean Hugh Guiney, and then Batnerd Begins, aka Dan Harrold. Thank you to Simply Bex. Thank you to Comic 1717. Feel free to name yourselves in the comments and put up links to your social media, etc. Thanks to Valik. Thanks to Sybil Enigma for all the fucking subs. Thanks to Bex for also all the fucking subs. Super nice of you to do that. Thanks to Murderman Jones. Never feel bad for being mean to people ever. I'm sure I'm missing like a million people, and if you're somebody who I missed and you're watching, I'm so sorry. And put your name in the chat.
Jasmine.
Miss Knox, Jasmine, yes. Who were really nice for the most part and didn't jump in with all the fucking bashing. So let's and are better people than I, because I will always jump on that mean bandwagon. I can't not. It's just in So anyway, let's go around one last time, gentlemen. Promote your shit. I'll start with Randy, our special guest, and of course, thank you to Randy. You were fantastic as always, my
thanks.
friend.
I really appreciate it. As I said, I do stand up here. I now have a monthly show up here in quiet Londonderry, New Hampshire. T+T.org for tickets. Drew Dunn's our next headliner on August 6th. It's a really good show.
Man,
this pack shirt is from 3 years ago. I've gone every year that they had it. But ironically enough, this is the PAX Pluto shirt that comes where we're supposed to be landing on Pluto in the 31st century. I did not mean to do that!
Oh, shit! Oh, no!
But,
Nice.
Yeah, it's a quality shirt, quality product, and I love PAX. I miss PAX. But yeah, T+T.org for my show. I play all over the place, but that's the big thing that I'm hoping folks come to. It's been really good, so please come out. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Justin. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for doing it, and great job, and great job shitting on you. That was fantastic. Okay, Jere, your turn. Promote your shit, my friend.
Yeah, I'm here every Wednesday at 6. I'm less early when I'm not waiting for the NBA. Waiting to get off of this to watch the NBA. So that is that. Thanks for watching.
All right. Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks for being
They did PAX last year though. So they haven't missed one, right?
No, they 2020 was the last one. They skipped it this year.
Right, this year, right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Rasheed, please promote your shit, my friend.
First of all, thank you, Film Simps. Thank you, Justin, for having me on as a co-host this past month and a half. This has been fantastic. I love doing stuff like this. So you can see me at Cool Hand Ride everywhere. Hopefully you'll see me do some stuff here. You also hopefully will see me do something in the future with Comic 1717, aka Josh. Yeah, you'll just see me around. Maybe I'll do more stand-up shows coming up soon. But again, this has been like the highlight of my summer, and I look forward to doing more of this stuff. And also, really because I just had like a long car ride with my family. It took us 10 hours. We're almost no longer a family, so we're going to switch that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And I just want to say, Rasheed, you've been fantastic. I'm so glad that I added you as a co-host. And anytime we do Marvel recap shit, I absolutely want you to continue being a co-host. I love your attitude. I love your personality. I love your enthusiasm and optimism. And you should get a Ethernet cord. All right.
It's not an option for some people. It depends on where your modem is.
I own 500 footers. Anyway, no joke. I own 500 footers. It's possible. Okay. Anyway, Mikey Gesus, please promote your shit.
Yeah, so I'm Mikey Gesus with a G, not a J, everywhere, including Instagram as of today. So feel free to find me in any of those places if you want to see more of what I do and talk about. Big comic nerd, so I'm posting a lot of comic news and things like that on Instagram as well. And every week, speaking of, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do Twins This Week in Nerd Stuff with Justin. We talk about the week's most important news, all the news that actually matters in the world, which is usually things about where we debate video games and comic books and argue about the most important things in the world, which is generally speaking MCU news and talking about Suicide Squad a lot.
Fuck yeah. And also, I just want to say I love both Jere and Mikey, and love doing shows with you guys. And finally me. And also, I do want to point out. So Hugh in the chat just said, not sure if Judases are allowed to plug. Of course, dude, I brought you on to just shit on you for an hour straight. Of course, you can plug your social media. So at Lord Pancreas on Twitter. First result on YouTube for Hugh Guiney. You should probably get a URL if you get. Wait, I think you need 100 followers, right? Something like that. But yeah, So Hugh Guiney, and that's HUGHGUINEY for those of you who might be listening in the podcast version of it. And finally, my turn. And then actually find Simply Bex on IG at SimplyBex 1991, and also a frequent guest, and will be on future episodes of my shit because love her as well. Love all around. We've got all the venom out now. I'm like all cuddly now that I'm exhausted of being mean. So it's like, thank you guys so much.
We just had a session and now it's cuddle time.
Yeah. Oh man, I love you guys. It's like the end of Ghostbusters 2, Dan Aykroyd. Like, you guys are great. You guys rule. And then Josh Poyer, aka Comic 1717, find me at home doing nothing. So we got 3 weekly shows. The Hiddlesimps for the next few weeks will be Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be moving to Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I got a new job, as well as Mikey. Yay for our new jobs. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
We working together?
Better life.
Yeah. And, so we will be moving, although for the time being, it is still Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Jere and I will be, along with our guests, Alyssa Spinner and Rosemary, aka Rose's Poison on Twitch. We'll be reviewing Space Jam: A New Legacy, which I watched. I rewatched the first Space Jam last night, and goddamn, even, most of it kind of holds up as just like a solid kids movie, but even the shit that's like really awkward, just like from like a purely like just filmmaking standpoint, is really fun. And it's like this awesome fucking time capsule of the 90s that I just had a blast revisiting. And Bill Murray is legitimately fantastic in it. And just doesn't give a fuck, knows what kind of movie this is, and just owns every scene he's in. Goddamn. Do I love Bill Murray, and I do not want to talk about his past. Okay. Surprised the Me Too hasn't come for him. And I hope it never does. Well, actually, no, unless he has to, unless that moral reckoning needs to happen. Okay. Anyway, I'm not kidding. Why did I bring that up? Now I made it weird. But yeah, so that, and then of course, This Week in Nerd Stuff, this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then a week from tonight, we will be back here. Me, Jere, Ben Scuria, Grace Ellen will all be here to review all 3 Fear Street movies. I have not seen a single one yet. I've been holding them off. I'm going to watch them this week. I'm watching Space Jam 2 tonight, and then I'm watching the Fear Street trilogy this week. So a week from tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be reviewing the Fear Street trilogy, and you will know my dumb opinion on that. And one last time, thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you again to all our guests. Thanks to all of you. You're all fantastic. I love all of you.